CCBPI's company showcase will now be facilitated by the hardworking and charismatic Jake and Bea from the talent team. So Jake and Bea, are you here? We're gonna pass the hosting rights to you now. Hola, hello. I see Jake, I see Bea. Okay.
All
Can
right.
you all
Hi.
agree they're
Hi,
cute
hi
and
Cass.
they're super cute and pretty? O, diba? Thank you so much.
Cass.
Okay, it's your show. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just want to do like a quick mic check. Can everyone hear us? Hi, guys. Yes?
Hello. Yes. Hi.
Okay, perfect. So,
Okay.
thanks so much, Cass. Thanks so much, Rick Bean team. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Happy Friday. We're so happy, so excited to be here as we share with you the refreshing careers in Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines. So, I'm Jake Bustos of the Coca-Cola Talent Team, and today I'm joined by my very fabulous intern, Bea Carlos. So, to the next, I want to first thank everyone joining us today. So, there are nearly 100 of different schools and universities, as well as early to mid-career professionals joining us today. So maraming salamat po for joining us in this session, right? So coming from the very inspiring keynote speech of our company CEO and president, Mr. Gareth McKeown yesterday, I'm sure you guys have learned a lot on who we are, what we do as a people-first company, who's committed to taking care of our own people, our customers, communities, as we refresh the world and make a difference. So to get started, allow me to share a very powerful, inspiring video of Team Coca-Cola. So Maestro Christian, take it away.
We have been with you for 108 years, sharing happiness and creating moments together. But now is the time, more than ever, to go beyond by showing up in times when we are needed the most, to reaching you wherever you may be, to serving the ones who need a chance to recover, to rebuild, to restart, to help uplift the lives of other people, while protecting and preserving the resources we all need to survive. It's time to do more than just good. Now is the time to give more, do more, be more. For you, for the communities we serve, for a better future shared by all. Coca-Cola, go beyond good.
All right. Wow, that was an amazing video. What do you think, Bea?
Yes, oh my goodness, that was great. Such a great way to start off this session. And yes, before everything, though, we would just like to give a very quick shout out to the organizations that helped us make this happen. They really did their best to gather our participants for today. So we have the Junior Marketing Association of the Philippines, PUP Santa Rosa, Junior Marketing Society, PUP Quezon City, and the DLSU Industrial Management Engineering Society.
Wow, great job, guys. Maraming salamat for the support. So now, welcome to our Coca-Cola Talent Factory. So to the next. So our talent factory, where we don't only manufacture the best beverage products, but we also manufacture what? The best talents. So you see here in this slide, three gigantic business units of our over 10,000 strong population. So we have commercial that sells our products to our customers. You have supply chain and support functions that help sell. So in our Coca-Cola Talent Factory, we offer a lot of refreshing career opportunities for you. So to the next, ito na guys. So very short intro, right? So today I am thrilled to present to you guys our amazing leaders to talk about some of our most exciting functions, their team culture, their roles, responsibilities, as well as the possible career opportunities in store for you. So for our company showcase today, we are joined by Andrea from Strategic Planning, Frank from Supply Chain, Chris from Commercial, Mello from Finance, and of course, last but certainly not the least, Rina from People. So, as I hand it over to our first speaker, I want to ask you guys this question. Where does Coca-Cola business really start and how? Big question mark, right? Ladies and gents, our first speaker, Andrea Cheng. Over to you, Andrea.
Hi, Jake. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you see me? Taas kamay naman dyan. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, a little bit about myself. I think you heard from Gareth yesterday introducing the company, heard a bit from it, about it from Jake and Bea, and you saw the fantastic video that they have put together about our very proud history. But we think that you get to know the company when you get to know the people, which is actually why you have such a wide range of folks here presenting and representing Cook here today for you. So my name is Andrea. I lead strategic planning. They wanted me to share something that was a little bit weird or a little bit like a hobby, but I'll go with something that's more weird than anything else. How do I watch a series? I actually don't watch it in order. Gusto ko yung simula, tapos papanoorin ko muna kung happy ending. Tapos pag hindi siya happy ending, babasahin ko na lang sa Wikipedia. But if it is a happy ending, babalikan ko yung gitna. Diba? Para efficient. Kasi pag pangit yung dulo, wag na lang. Okay. All right. Now, let me talk a little bit about my career journey. I would say, among the many that have grown up in Cook. And I think that's super relevant for you because you're all students and you're looking for a place to grow and learn in. Right? So Cook is actually my second job. I started here when it was 2013, and I started in strategic planning. Now, strategic planning, I'll go through the next slide what the role is. But I landed in strategic planning. I spent 3 years in the role, and then I said I wanted to go and study, and I took my MBA. So I went to Hong Kong, and then I finished my MBA, and then I came back. And then when I came back, they asked me, do you want to go into strat plan again? And I said, maybe not, because if I'm looking for something that will actually make me more complete and more effective in terms of making proper strategy, I need to go outside of strat and actually learn how the business is when you roll up your sleeves and you're actually doing what needs to be done. So I joined marketing. When I was in marketing, I was handling category marketing. And that means that is, what do you do for pricing? How do you actually launch certain products? I was doing it for sparkling, which is what we call carbonated soft drinks. That's sparkling as a category. I did it for juices, for water. So all of the categories that had. Oh, there's other audio. Okay. And then I did commercial insights and analytics. So earlier, when you saw the list of the different sub-functions under the main unit, as Jake was calling it, one of those was commercial insights and analytics. And this one is a role that is very near and dear to my heart. It's a lot of insights and analytics. If you can't tell, I enjoy that. That's why I said it's near and dear to my heart. So it's a lot of understanding the market quantitatively. So it's not about opinions. It's not about how you see it, because usually if sometimes people think they see it once and that's already representative of the entire market. That's not the case. So this is actually running number and data to understand what is happening in the market, to be able to craft the plans that will address whatever is going on. Okay. And now I'm back in strat plan. So full circle, balik tayo ulit ng strat plan, which leads to my next slide. Actually, it's a perfect segue if we can go there. So what does strat plan do? So strat plan is a unique function in that it is future focused, right? Of course, ang bread and butter ng negosyo is that you need to keep the business running. Every single day, there's people that need to make that bottle of Coke and sell that bottle of Coke, and people that do the help sell so that we get to be able to do the making and the selling of it. Strat is unique. By design, it will always be a small team because you don't need as many hands doing this. However, you do need people thinking about the future. You've heard it said before that what got you here won't get you where you want to be in the future. And that's the exact same thing for any company. You need to reserve some people who are actually thinking, okay, what will be the driver of growth for Coke in the future so that it still is the number one beverage company in the Philippines, or matter of fact, in the world. Okay. So this is what you see here. The routines for StratPlan and what we do covers that range of time frame. So we think about today because there are certain things that we also need to deliver as a function, right? But we're more focused about crafting the plans for tomorrow. The question that StratPlan should answer, there are two, right? Where to play. It's a question about where should we be participating in a certain market, in a certain channel, right? Where do we see the trends going that we need to be present there for the future? The other question in relation to that, once you've identified where it is that you do want to play, is the next question, how to win. So once you've identified what it is that you want to do, the next question is, all right, now what do we need to do to be able to win in that space? Okay. So this is broadly what StratPlan is about. I'm not going to go into the functional requirements, but essentially it's about thinking, okay, we're good now, but we want to be better and we want to remain relevant for the future. Right? How do we do that? Who do we need? And let's plan to get there. So that's StratPlan in a nutshell. Now, this one is about today and tomorrow, but we need to talk about what I was saying earlier, which is let's talk about the making, the selling, and the help sell, because that's part of what actually fuels the resources that we need to continuously grow for tomorrow as well. So without further ado, I would want to introduce you to the very fabulous Frank Garcia.
Fabulous. Thank you,
Fabulous
Andrea.
Frank. Fabulous Frank.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Frank.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
Yes,
Before I
yes.
start, show of hands muna. How many people had a Coke today? Or a Coke yesterday? Yan. Okay. If you did have a Coke today or yesterday or in the last month, I would like to say that I contributed a little to giving that Coke. And I see a lot of, yes, cool. I see a lot of IMES people here. I'm also a graduate of De La Salle University. I graduated industrial engineering. Don't ask when. I don't know if I'm old or young. I'm trying to figure that out. Anyway, I played a hand or I play a little bit of a part in making sure that you guys get the Coke that you know and love. My name is Frank Garcia. I'm the manufacturing director for Coke. I've been with Coca-Cola for 7 years. I've actually gone around the supply chain function. I started with transportation, then I did logistics, then I moved to planning, and now I'm in manufacturing. This is probably my best role ever, at least from my perspective, primarily because when I was doing planning, I was tinkering with numbers. This time I can actually actualize the actual bottle when I walk in the manufacturing facilities that I go to. When I am not in the manufacturing facilities, I actually spend time with my kids. I have an 18-year-old son who actually just graduated from high school today. I'm very proud of that. I have 2 daughters aged 7 and 6. We go camping. We like to shoot airsoft. We ride my scooter. But our main hobby is cooking. So I like to cook adobo, steak, whatever. My adobo is killer, and it actually goes well with Coke. So can I segue to the next slide, please? So in supply chain, I'd like to take you through the journey of how a Coke bottle is made or how a Coke bottle is produced. Believe it or not, it doesn't start in the plants or in the manufacturing facilities. It starts in a small office in BGC where we have a production planner and a material resource planner figuring out how much Coke the market needs. When they figure that out, the materials planner says, okay, I'm gonna buy sugar, I'm gonna buy this amount of the secret sauce, I'm gonna buy caps, crowns, and bottles. Once they get that, they make a phone call and they say, Mr. Logistics Planner, can you pick up all these goods that I planned for and bring it to one of the 20 plants nationally? Mind you, it's not easy to be a logistics planner because our plants are spread across the whole Philippines. Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. We actually have plants as far up as Ilocos, as way down south as Zamboanga. So once those raw materials, the sugar, the concentrates get to our plants, our bottling operators now start making the magic. So they mix the water, they mix the sugar, they mix it with a special sauce or the concentrates. With a little bit of CO2, you now have the Coke. We bottle it on the line, and then we're good. We can send it out to the market. But there are a couple of people that have to make sure that each and every bottle of Coke or can or whatever we produce comes out just perfect. So we call them quality specialists. And the quality specialist taste the Coke, they smell the Coke, they drink it, make sure it's fizzy, just to make sure that when you close your eyes and you drink that Coke, it brings you back to when you were 10 years old and your lola gave you 8 pesos to buy mismo to go with your pandesal. So we want to make sure that that experience happens day in and day out, and each and every person gets that same experience all the time. Once that's done, another phone call. Mr. Logistics Planner, can you bring these bottles of Coke to one of our 62 distribution centers nationally? Arguably, we have the biggest distribution network in the Philippines. When it gets there, it's met by a warehouse clerk. And that warehouse clerk makes sure that that Coke bottle that comes to the distribution center is of the same quality as it left the plant. He makes sure that we have the right amount of inventory because we have to wait for that special phone call. And that special phone call comes from our customers. Whether it's the super, super big guys like the SMs of the world, or your convenience stores like 7-Eleven, or even the small sari-sari store in the corner, Aling Nena, that phone call is what we wait for. They say, please deliver a case of Coke to my location. So with our logistics planner again, we load it onto the truck and then we deliver that magic in the bottle, as we say. So to walk you through that last mile that I was talking about, I'm going to pass you on to Lodi. Lodi namin to. We call him our Lodi here. He's our commercial director, Chris Pisigan. Take it away, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Lodi, Frank. Fabulous pass down to me, bro. Anyways, can everybody hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up? Great, great. So allow me to introduce myself now. So you can call me Chris, Chris. Sometimes people spell my name wrong without the H. I represent the commercial function, okay? And I'm currently the General Trade Director for the total company. So allow me to tell you my journey at Coke. I've been here for approximately about 8 amazing years. 8 amazing years. But unlike Andrea, actually, this is actually my second corporate job. I was actually previously a management consultant in the US, and then I pursued my MBA in Spain, and I decided to come home to the Philippines, and I joined the corporate world in Coca-Cola as a project manager, right? So note to self, note to all of you, being good at selling a vision, managing lists, managing timelines, and influencing people does go a long way. It did for me, okay? That's a tip for all of you. After this, I did a string of other roles that were kind of not necessarily down my path. I handled a lot of asset management, business development innovations. I had a stint in employer branding, and then commercial excellence, what I'll talk about later. And then now I find myself in sales, right? So note to self, note to all of you. One of the things that got me through a lot of this was this element of curiosity, asking a lot of questions and solving problems, because that really is what's going to get you far in this business. You know? Now, on a personal note, I was asked to talk about myself. You know, as you see in the photo, I'm a family man. I'm married to a CrossFit athlete. My first daughter actually is a musician. She plays piano and violin. My second daughter is a butterfly. And my son there on my shoulders is actually, would be, I think, a potential politician, always asking me for a lot of things. You know? But on my personal time, as you see on the picture on the right, I'm actually more of a solitary type. And I do like to do CrossFit as well. I do cycling, swimming, I play football. I'm actually a hidden artist by trade, and I also do a lot of Lego in my free time. So let me go to the next slide. Sorry. Now, people always ask me, what's my favorite beverage from Coca-Cola? It's actually Coca-Cola regular in a bottle. Because I don't know if any of you have actually tried Coke in a bottle. It does bring you memories, brings you back to your childhood. So that's my favorite drink. And that's what you'll see actually a lot of that in the general trade. Let's go to the next slide. So what do we want in commercial? Frank told you about bottling, producing the cases that we sell. Our vision is really to deliver happy, refreshing moments everywhere, to everyone, every time, right? We want to be available to absolutely all of the 105 million people in the country, spread across 1,700 plus islands in this country, right? And that takes a lot of effort and help, right? Now, commercial, normally people will think, oh, commercial sales guys. Not necessarily the case, right? And commercial is actually split into two functions. The first is what we call those that help to sell. And the second function is those that actually do the selling. So let me talk first about those that actually help to sell, right? Andrea alluded to it about a while ago. We call it the commercial insights and analytics team. These are kind of like your data junkies, those that really love to analyze data, extrapolate insights from information from third parties or internal people that do surveys for us, so that people like myself can make the right decision, the most well-informed decision. These guys create all of our reports and actually gave us all the insights so that we can actually innovate for the future. The other things that Commercial Insights does is actually on revenue growth management. How do you make more money? Looking into our pack, price, and channel, right? And the third thing, and I saw a couple of questions being asked, was where does forecasting happen? It happens here, right? We do a lot of demand planning here, working closely with commercial to determine what the market really wants, and then working closely with supply chain to really determine, can we support that demand, right? Trivia, Andrea, our strategic planning director, actually launched commercial insights and analytics. And if you look at the abbreviation, it spells CIA. And everybody that is currently there, if you're into titles, is called an agent, right? They are CIA agents, okay? Right, number two in the help sell functions, we have marketing. And let me do a caveat right now. Marketing for us is not about brand marketing. That's actually the Coca-Cola company. We do the trade marketing. We prepare the promotions. We ensure that we're able to execute the posters and the coolers executed properly across the market. We also delve into category innovations for sparkling and stills, doing a lot of things such as new product launches, right? And just most recently, we started delving into digital marketing because we do know that digital is the way to go. It's the way of the future. So we are currently building that department in marketing today. The last help to sell function is actually commercial excellence, which I headed previously. And this is actually where we enhance and design how we sell to the market. It's a route to market. And it's primarily getting our products from point A to point B in the most cost-efficient way, in the most profitable way for all the stakeholders in the value chain. This is where most of our industrial engineers actually go and apply because they do like to solve this problem because it is actually one of our secret sauce in the business, okay? They also obsess on capabilities as well as asset management, such as the coolers and the fountain machines that you see in your local McDonald's or Jollibee's. So that's the help sell function, all right? Now going to the sell function, there are two channels that do the selling for Coke. The first one is general trade, which comprises about 1,400 headstrong individuals that wake up at 5 every day, walk-on-twos to reach countless stores by sundown, right? This is basically your general trade guys contribute to about 80% of the business because our goal is what? We need to serve 700 distributors and about 10,000 wholesalers with one key objective, ensuring that our bottle of Coke is available across the 1 million sari-sari stores and carinderias across the entire country, right? The second channel that actually does the selling is the modern trade. And these guys contribute about 20% of the business. And they are there to make sure that we are available in your hypers and supers, your SMs, your pure golds, on our on-premise accounts, such as your Jollibees, your Shakey's, or your convenience stores, such as your 7-Elevens. And we've also been doing a lot of home and office delivery, delving into the direct-to-consumer business, where we can actually book an order and deliver it straight to your doorstep in a matter of days, right? So that's primarily the commercial function, right? So the next time you actually go on a trip, let's just say to the boondocks, if you're one of those guys that likes to go to the mountains, or you like to go to the beach, or you like to go to a remote island to get away from all of the hustle and bustle of the urban life. And the next time you see a bottle of Coke in the local sari-sari store, just do remember that that's because somebody from my team and from Frank's team made that possible. No? So without further ado, let me pass it on now to our beautiful Melody Gonzalez here, who primarily is the one in charge of calculating if I do sell our products, we probably am making money, right? And what do we do with that money? So let me hand it over to you, Mel.
Thanks, Chris. You guys hear me well? Can you hear me?
Hey, Melody, it's slightly mahina.
Is it better?
Guys, is it better for you all? Or louder pa? Okay na. Okay.
Okay lang. Okay. Hang on. Okay, so hi everyone. So I'm Melo, no? Melody Mogatas Gonzalez. You can call me Melo for short. I'm currently the supply chain finance manager of CCBPI. And really, on behalf of the entire finance leadership team, I am very much happy and excited to talk about the fun finance function, no? With such a very, very young and promising set of talents in this event. But before I go, a little bit more in more detail in terms of the full function finance view, let me just, share something, some interesting items, no, or facts about me. Things I enjoy doing, definitely swimming, no. I'm a certified beach lover. I can spend on the beach all day in the water, do a lot of activities, no. And in fact, back in college, together with my cousins, I actually trained for swimming. So hopefully when the whole pandemic is all over, I plan to pursue and really learn and really be active on the free diving activity. So that's my interest. I also do a lot of traveling and food trips, no. So I do travel and I really have constant travel buddies. So I think we don't really do the normal, travel packages. We really do from scratch. We define our own schedules. We do a mix of the touristy and non-touristy stuff, and we really really explore the place, explore the food, enjoy the culture of our place of destination. And given that amongst the group in the travel buddy group, I had the most sense of I have the most sense of navigation. So by default, when we are out of the country, I am I am like the logistics head. So they really ask me which bus, which train to take, which station do we get off, what time do we need to get there, what's the best route, no? So even if it's my first time also to be in that country, so that also you also have a lot of fun in that whole experience. I also love to do singing. Interesting fact, no. And I think it will also be an interesting fact to my other colleagues here. Um, I was actually in a band before, back in college. So don't again back in college. Don't ask the when, like Frank did. No, I was one of the lead female vocalists of the UPJP band then. So we did competitions, the national JP network normally has some competitions, and we won a few of them, no. And then when I was in early years in SGV, right after finishing the CPA board exam, I was also with the band together with some of my childhood friends, and we did some gigs in QC. Of course, that was years ago, no. But when I became a little bit busy with work, then I had to, I had to leave the band, and then continue to work, no. So there, and then in my free time, I do watch a lot of series. Lately it's mostly K dramas, no. And some like crime of or like documentaries and stuff. So that's basically about me, no. Now on to my career journey. I'm actually I have 15 years overall finance experience, no, as a finance professional. I think in the group of the speakers today, I can call myself the baby in the group in terms of the number of years of stay in Coca-Cola. I've stayed with Coke for 2.5 years from now. I'm really enjoying my current stint working with my partners. But let me just walk through a little bit of experience in terms of my life before Coke. I may sound a little bit nerdy, but I actually love tax back in college. So I really, set I love tax. So I said I'm going to start my career in SGV, and that's where I did tax compliance. And then I moved on to one of the, big FMCGs in our country. And that's where I practically experienced and rotated almost every finance role available. So in that FMCG company, I did a lot of finance business partnering roles. So I've worked with corporate finance or support, I did corporate finance. I worked with different, functions and departments in the company. So I worked with supply chain, I worked with the marketing, in handling several categories, no. I also did work with support functions like HR, IT, corporate affairs, to manage OPEX budgets. And then aside from business partnering, I also did I also did some financial accounting, no, or controllers role. So I did financial reporting. I also did order to cash, and then eventually I was taken as one of the pioneers in terms of the project team in terms of SAP implementation, both for Philippines and also on a regional scale, no, Asia and the Pacific, in a regional scope in that project. And then I also did some setup of the company. So still in that same company, I established the shared services, the Manila hub for that multinational company, and eventually became the controller, no, the finance controller of that entity. And time flies so fast. 2.5 years in Coke. Life at Coke has really been fun. I'm really excited, enjoying my work. Actually, Frank is my one of my partners in the business in terms of my capacity as your supply chain finance business partner. And we work together to really, improve productivity and, optimize the cost for Coca-Cola. So that's enough about me. I hope you find it interesting, no? A couple of things. So maybe we can move on to the next slide so I can walk you through quickly what finance is all about, no? So earlier you listened to Andrea, Frank, and Chris, no? So we start with really the strategy, what the company wants to do, where we want to go. And then it's all about execution on the part of Frank and Chris. So we do go about producing new products, innovations, new product launches, and then that's what Chris and the team sell to the trade and to the market. But actually, that all reflects now whatever we do in supply chain, whatever we do in commercial or in sales, that will all reflect on the company's performance. And that is really how it is linked to finance. Because as finance function, we need to show performance management reports so that we know how the business is doing. Are we doing well? Are we on track versus the target? Do we need to, do some adjustments? Are we doing well? If we need to do adjustments, where do we make those adjustments? So finance really is in the heart of those discussions so that we can, improve, recover, correct, and even, be more creative in terms of adding more to the business. So let me just, if I can group the total finance into four main groups, there will actually be four. No, you have the partners, you have the experts, and you have the guardians, and also you have the engine. No, so for the partners, example would be my current role now. I'm your supply chain finance partner. So working closely really with the SELT, the supply chain leadership team. The main function of this group as finance business partners is really to drive decision support function for finance. We do drive and engage in a lot of discussions to influence the business into dynamic resource allocation. If we have like a very limited or finite resource, then we do engage with the business and encourage or influence them and have that discussion. What are the options and where can we get the most out of these investments? And then we also do monitoring, no, when once we start executing. So that's basically really what the partner does. You also have the experts. Now you all know about, in the Philippines you have a lot of taxation rules by the BIR, SEC. In terms of the banking policies, you also need to follow BSP policies, instructions, and etc. So as a Coca-Cola company, it is important that we do have people who are very, considered expert, or what we call in-house advisors, to enable us to really maximize the policies and ensure that we are 100% compliance to the policies, but as well as really learning about the policies and maximizing and getting the most what will be beneficial, no? What policies can we use to our favor, no? While we are doing 100% compliant. So that's really where your expertise people lie. Um, Marvel has their Guardians of the Galaxy, but each company will have the Guardians of the Books, right? So this is really your financial accounting team who are really ensuring that the books are clean, the balances of expenses, revenue, assets, etc. are good, are in place. We have the fresh balances in the books so that when we do report, especially for Coke being a publicly listed entity, the accuracy, and the accuracy of the financial reports is very crucial. The last part of finance is really what we call the engine. So for us partners, no, for the partners, for the experts and the guardians to really be able to focus on the core activities like business partnering, focusing on advisory services, and also guarding the books. We're really able to do that because we have an engine supporting us. We have a very strong shared services which really take care of the centralized finance operations. And they also do lead continuous improvements, no? These are the team that will really employ and look what is out there. What are the RPA? What's the ACL that we can, make use of, or any, new opportunities in automation that will further make the finance operation simpler and faster. So those really are, the key, the key takeaway for finance is really have the partners, you have the experts, you have the guardians, and supporting all of these will be the engine. So in summary, finance is really there to help the business and ensure that we take care of our resources. No, when we spend resources, when we invest in something, we need to ensure that we get the biggest bang for the buck. But as a company, while finance take care of the asset, the most important asset of the company is its people. So with that, I hand you over to Rina, our beautiful Rina, our one of the directors in our people department. Over to you, Rina.
Thanks, Melo. Hi, everyone. So I hope you guys are excited. It is Friday today. I know I am. I cannot wait to enjoy my weekend. But before that, let me introduce myself. I'm Rina. I'm the Talent and Development Director for Coca-Cola. Now, a little bit of stuff about myself and what I love to do. Definitely, I love spending time with my family. And as you can see in the photos, I have a son and my husband, but we also have two other sons. Actually, those sons one is a golden retriever. His name is Gordon. You'll see him in the photo. And then yung isa, wala lang siyang picture, but he is a Welsh Corgi. His name is Stark. So those were actually my panganay. And then the youngest is actually Gab, who is the human that you see on the photo. Other stuff that I love to do, I love to cook. Like Frank, we actually usually compare notes on recipes, where to source the best ingredients, but I also love to eat as well. So if you look at my IG or my Facebook, maybe 70% of the stuff I post is food. Um, I also dabble actually on jewelry design, so I have an online business on that. And similar to Melo, I have discovered the world of K-drama, K-pop, and Korean food. So like ever since COVID started, that has been my source of like de-stressing. So I have seen the latest BTS video already on Butter this like 12 noon. It was pretty cool. Now something more about work. Similar to Andre and I think Chris was that I've pretty much only known two organizations my whole life so far. Majority of it has been with Coke, and I've been here for almost a decade. So that kind of gives out my age, but maybe you can assume my first job was like 2 months lang. But anyway, I handled a couple of different roles. I started actually with Total Rewards. So yung role ko doon was basically taking care of benefits, making sure that we create benefit programs that are relevant for our associates, like health, retirement. After that, I did a role in org effectiveness. And this was more about designing the organization structure, helping, for example, the likes of Chris, of Frank, Andrea, and Melo, ilang positions ba yung kailangan, anong roles ba yung kailangan to help them get to the organization and the ambition that they want. Now, those roles were mainly in like head office or like more strategic roles. But, you know, I think the action in my HR career started when I moved to handle a plant, like to be an HR for a plant. And that was like an amazing experience when I was assigned in the biggest plant then, which was the Santa Rosa complex. So from wearing really corporate outfits, skirts, high heels, I went to Santa Rosa. I actually still kind of wore some of those, but I would be more on in the warehouse, in the distribution centers. So that was my role, and I really learned a lot there. And I think that's something actually that I really appreciated. Yung parang having a different view of being in a support function and being really where the action is. Now, before my current role, I was the head of commercial HR nationwide, and this allowed me to also experience the work that our salespeople do. It was a great way for me to also know the country. You know, usually we fall into thinking, I would love to be assigned in Europe or in the US or in other countries. Pero you know what? Seeing the Philippines, going to Ilocos, going to Zamboanga, and seeing our own country was really amazing for me. That was a learning experience in itself. So that's actually just a little bit about me. You'll see some of the photos here. We were, let's say, in Bacolod in a market visit. Siyempre, hindi mo matitiis to eat in the street food there. So may cotton candy ni Manong, etc. And that's where the fun really is. So if we go on to the next slide, I'll share with you guys now a little bit about HR. And earlier on, you saw how Andrea, Frank, Chris, and Melo had talked about the different roles and the different functions within an organization. Yesterday, if you guys recall, Gareth was also talking about the secret formula really in our organization is our people. And that's really something that we live and breathe in the organization. Now, saan papasok yung HR dun sa role na yon? You know, our role has evolved long from hiring and firing to really creating like a holistic experience for our employees. I mean, imagine, diba? In a day, you spend 1/3 of your day, if you're lucky, working, 1/3 you're sleeping, and 1/3 of other stuff. So that's a huge amount of time that you spend in an organization. Our role is to make sure that we create meaning in that 8 hours or in that 1/3 of your day, not just you thinking that you're working to get paid, but that you actually enjoy the whole experience of being with Coke. And that's exactly this framework that you see here, yung life at Coke. There are different aspects here. So we start from Be Well, very relevant yan ngayon kasi diba, with COVID and everything, safety is really our top priority. And that's not just physical safety, it's also emotional and mental safety that we promote within the organization. The other is Be Connected, and really talks about how do we help the organization stay connected, how do we communicate, how do we collaborate, especially now that we are physically apart because of all the restrictions, how do we encourage and keep on doing that across all our 10,000 employees in the whole country? Now, I'll spend a little bit more time on Be Developed, of course, because this is my favorite topic. And when we talk about Be Developed, it's not just about training programs. In fact, we believe in the organization that you put your learning and development in your own hands. Pero, role namin to create that opportunity and to create or build that, I guess, framework on where you can actually learn. So whether it is through training, which is one way, but I think one of the things we've learned also is the best way to learn is through experience. And so we're curating that as well for the organization. Now, the other one is also be valued. And we believe here that we need to bank on each other's strengths so that people feel a sense of belonging within the organization. Be rewarded. It's not just about salaries. Of course, that is a basic premise. And the principle we have in the organization is that you pay for performance. Now, what we realize, and probably in most of your generation, seeing the years of work experience you guys have had, what we're also seeing is that reward is not just about monetary. It's also about recognition. It's also about the pat on the back that you get from your boss. And that's something that we really promote as well in the org. And last, of course, is be inspired, because we believe that to go beyond good, hindi lang siya sa loob ng cook, but it's also how do we bring back to the community. So if you look at the bottom part of this slide, how does that translate to our roles in HR? We essentially have, let's say, 4 different buckets. One is the strategic partner. That's where you see functions such as talent and development, where my role is total rewards, because our role is to curate with the business. Ano ba yung mga ways that we can upscale our associates? Ano ba yung mga ways that we can reward and recognize our associates? Second would be to be a change agent, because we want to create organizations, we want to create roles that add value to the 1 billion aspiration that we have and beyond. And so it's also partnering with the business. The third is being an employee champion. And with 10,000 employees, we need to make sure that our associates continue to feel engaged and connected through communication, through employer relations programs. And when we talk about these programs, it's not just about Christmas party or family day. In fact, hindi natin magawa yun ngayon. We also create programs that are more relevant depending dun sa audience natin. And we've even gone beyond just our employees, but also even involving their families, their kids in the programs that we have. And last, but definitely not the least, we're also administrative experts, because within HR, we have a team called Shared Services. They basically take care about our employee services, like payroll and benefits. Now, even if you say it's administrative, at the end of the day, ito yung importante rin sa employees natin. Getting paid on time, because that's something they use to support their families, is something we take very seriously as well in the org. Now, I hope we were able to give you at least a good preview of what life at Coke is. And now if we move on to the next slide, actually, we also want to share with you that we have launched a program called Aspire. And so if you guys want to join, you can just take a photo or maybe do a screenshot on the QR code that you see here on the slide. And basically, Aspire is a program for young talent. And it's a 2-year program, which would give you like 4 rotations on different roles in the org. It will help you build your skills. We'll have a curated development journey for you, cross-functional assignments, because it's really the best way you can learn. And if you see the leaders you listen to today, the likes of Frank, Chris, and all, they can be the leaders who can be your future mentors as well in the org. And so just take a photo. We'll look forward to seeing your profiles also here. And in terms of timing, it's until May 31. So we really encourage you guys to sign up soon. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Wow. All right. So thanks so much, guys. So thank you, Andrea, Frank, Chris, Melo, Rina. I've been in the workforce for quite a while, but this session still gives me like chills, teaches me a lot of new things. It's really inspiring. And again, don't forget, if you have time on Monday, attend our Aspire Young Talent Program virtual fair. So that's going to be 1 to 4 p.m. Manila time. It's free and is open to all. So the Rick Bean team will be sharing with you guys the QR code in their event newsletter. All right. So the most awaited portion, aside from the speaker showcase, would be, of course, our Q&A. I know you guys are all very excited to hear our Coca-Cola leaders answer your burning questions about career, Coca-Cola business, leadership, and whatnot. So we'll first start with the brave souls of those who are willing to turn on their cameras. So we'll do it this way. If you can first briefly introduce yourself, your school, your location, that would be great. So, all right. So we're already seeing some faces. So the first one I saw is Matt Mercado. So, and then followed
Yes,
by Mark Jerome. So maybe they can be the first three to ask our question. Yeah. So is Matt? Go ahead, Mercado.
yes, sir. Okay. So hello and good afternoon. So first off, I just want to thank you all for sharing your amazing experiences and lives to us today. It's been really nice meeting you all. So my name is Matt Mercado, the VP for HR at Ateneo ECTM, and a graduating student from Ateneo de Manila. So this question is directed to Ma'am Andrea. Hello, ma'am. So my question is,
Andrea
how
daw.
do you Sorry, ma'am. Okay. So how do you innovate on business strategy and ensure that you stay ahead of the game in the beverage business? Moreover, how do you grow challenger brands like Powerade, NutriBoost, etc., that are not the leader in their category?
That's a very interesting question. Let me break it apart. Two questions in one yan eh. So the first question was, how can we kind of, let me paraphrase a little bit, predict the future, right? I think to answer that question, how we do it is through data and seeing trends. Because usually it's not a sudden usually when you see something that happens, hindi siya nag-happen in an instant with no warning, especially in the business world. So you see murmurings of it if you are well read enough or aware enough about ano yung mga latest developments in the market. So to be better in terms of predicting future trends, it needs an awareness and a hypersensitivity to the things that are happening today. Is it 100% that you're going to be able to predict the future? No, we don't have a crystal ball. So what we do then is we do intelligent guesses, and we also hedge our bets in terms of what do we think is that particular occurrence or item that will actually snowball into an avalanche, right? It's not 100% success rate. It will never be. Something about strat is that we also recognize that once you make a plan, inevitable, closer to launch date, it will change. And it will change for the better. We often call it, it's about bulletproofing the plan, right? Usually how we do that is also by getting more input from the people who are also doing making, selling, and help sell today, right? The other question that you had was on challenger brands, or you mentioned specifically Powerade. That's an interesting question. For us in Coke, we have a very clear understanding of what each brand and what each product in our portfolio plays in terms of role. Some of them generate more volume, some of them generate more value, right? Some of them we are deliberately in because we also have an aspiration to be a company that offers beverages for life. What does it mean when we say beverages for life? It's offering a beverage across multiple occasions, offering a beverage across multiple life stages, meaning age, right? Offering a beverage across multiple na demographic, multiple channels, right? So our presence in Powerade is our deliberate decision that we do want to participate in sports, right? Growing challenger brands is a function of the amount of resources that you want to dedicate there. Resources, not just money for marketing, resources also in terms of human capital, right? Kunyari, yung sales team ni Chris, sabihin ba natin sa kanila na ang ibenta nila Coke, ang ibenta nila NutriBoost, or ang ibenta nila Powerade, right? we have a recognition that lahat ng brand namin and lahat ng product namin may certain role and iba-iba sila ng product maturity in their life cycle. So we also tailor our investment and the amount of effort towards yung life stage ng certain item na yon. It's also anchored to ano yung opportunity na nakita namin sa dulo. Kasi pag nakita namin sizable yung opportunity, invest talaga kami today, right? If it's something na medyo mas mediocre, but it's something that we're more keen on participating kasi part of the overall strategy, accordingly, yung resources namin, pinapalitan din namin. So it was a long answer, but in a nutshell is that every part of the portfolio has a role. And just like in any machine, every cog and piece has its own meaning or role to play. That's the same for our portfolio, right? So challenger brands, they're defined that way because the role in their portfolio is to actually grow faster, right? It's somewhere that we want to build for the future, right?
Wow. Thanks for that, Andrea. So to the next, let's call Jerome. Jerome Portugues.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. My question is for Miss Rina. Yes. Miss Rina, do you only hire people from top colleges and universities?
So first, please just call me Rina. Feeling ko medyo magkalapit lang naman siguro yung age natin, sana. But to your question, no, definitely not. We really believe in diversity. So, and we also believe that while maybe going to college gives you a certain set of knowledge and discipline, when we hire people, we don't just look at academics. We also look at different aspects of a person's being in terms of, let's say, are they able to interact and collaborate with different people? Are they active? So if you're a fresh graduate, we'll also take a look at if you're active in school organizations. Because it's one thing that you learn the theories in school. It's another when you actually start applying it in real life. So to answer your question straight, definitely not. We look at all universities depending on your skill, depending on your character, and also your values.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. How about Bea? Who do you want to pick?
Yes, thank you so much for that, Rina. I think we have Mark Mercado raising his hand right now.
Yeah, so hi, nice to meet you all po. So
Wait,
as you can see,
is it the same person or are they related?
we're twins po. So yeah,
Are
I
you
was about to
twins?
say
Oh.
No
I
way!
got confused too.
Wow. Okay.
yes.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so yeah, I'm also currently a senior from 4BS Comtech, same course, and also part of the organization of ACTM from Ateneo de Manila University as well. So my question is directed to Sir Chris. So yeah, nowadays we are slowly becoming a contactless economy. So with this, what is Coca-Cola doing in terms of in digital and e-commerce acceleration?
Sure. So that's a very good question, Mark. No, so fully loaded one. Actually, we started the journey about 2 to 3 years ago. So we have a lot of things that we're doing in different channels today. So the first thing was actually we started delving into what we call the direct-to-consumer business, right? And that's primarily where you place an order online and it gets delivered straight to your home, right? And dropped at your home, right? And right now we're actually able to actually process payments differently as well. No? The other piece that we've also been starting to do and explore are the different e-wallets, right? So I don't know if I can really say the names of the companies out of confidentiality, but I mean, we're delving into that space where you actually don't anymore actually handle transactions through cash when you purchase a product. So we're exploring that actually in general trade. Although in terms of adaptation of the digital space, for example, in terms of e-wallets, if you can imagine general trade, we have about 1 million Savvy stores in the country. And when you walk the streets, if you actually get the chance to walk with me to the streets, not everybody has a cell phone just yet, right? So it's kind of in a way we have to be cautious on where we invest our money and these pilots where it actually makes the most sense, because we don't want to be specifically discouraged if we're not yielding the results that we want. No? We're also partnering specifically in key accounts and modern trade with the likes of, I would say, Lazadas, right? And the Shoppies, for example, in terms of being relevant in these marketplaces, right? Because I don't think that Coke is a standalone business wherein people just go online just to buy Coke, right? So from a digital standpoint, you have to make sure that you are present in all aspects of the different platforms available, right? It's just the question of how fast can Coke adapt, because platforms pop up here and there, and it's about being able to manage and be at the same pace that the industry is moving towards. So we're doing quite a lot. Internally, we're also exploring in terms of chatbots, right? So you hear a lot about AI and maybe a chatbot that gives you an automatic response when you look for customer service. We're also exploring that. So imagine and going to our Facebook account or Instagram account and saying, look, I'd like to purchase a bottle of Coke or a case of Coke, and something responding to you almost immediately, and it's not necessarily a person. It could be an automated response with some algorithms behind it, and you can actually order and get it straight delivered to your home. So those are things that we are working on, Mark, in the digital space. Right.
All right. Thank you so much, po.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for that, Chris. Okay, let's see who else is here. James Rabadon. Hello.
Hello po.
Yes. Hello. Hi.
Good afternoon, everyone. This question is for Sir Frank. Hello, sir. My question is it possible for a bottling line operator to become a future leader in supply chain?
Wow.
Wow. Thank you. That's a really tough question. In fact, maybe if you asked me that a year ago, the answer would probably be very difficult. But just recently, we launched this program called Smart Manufacturing. It's essentially an upskilling program for our bottling line operators. What happens is we focus on developing their capabilities. We look at their expertise. We bring in, we call them OEMs, meaning the experts from abroad, to teach people how to properly run the lines. And they go through a revalida process, and they go through this whole big testing to make sure that you know how to run the lines. Once you get there, you all of a sudden become a production engineer. And when you become a production engineer in Coca-Cola, the possibilities are now endless. You can now pivot and say, in manufacturing, I want to do quality. I want to do, you can even do people stuff. You want to do engineering. So the first step is going through that smart manufacturing program. And then eventually you will be able to move up the ladder. My dream actually is, we call them our VSU guys, the smart guys, the vertical startup guys. I had a talk with them just a couple of weeks ago, and I said, my dream is to one day have someone standing in my position coming from the smart manufacturing program. So is it possible? The answer is yes, and yes, and yes, and yes. Thanks for the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So next, thanks so much, Frank. Let's call Monica. Monica Marie Morales. Hi.
Hi, so I'm a graduating student from Del Salle University, and it was mentioned a while ago that finance is one of the guardians of Coke. So my question for Miss Mello is, how does the field of finance encourage creativity and fun and excitement, given that those in that field require talents that are structured, precise, and highly analytical?
All right, thank you. That's a very interesting question, no? I think just to start, no, I think there's really just a traditional notion on finance. Yes, you have a structure, you have the technical accounting items or accounting stuff that we all need, and also the controls. But if you'll notice, for the past years, no, there has been a lot of evolution in terms of the way finance is carrying out its function. If you could remember the four groups that I've mentioned earlier, no, um, the creativity, the fun component, that would really be in the space of the partners, for me, because if you'll notice, the growth and the demand for business partners has significantly or exponentially grown over the years. So the demand of the business of the function has also evolved from finance. So now the game changer for finance partners now goes like this, no, you go into a meeting, you work with your partners, you really need to learn how that function works, whether it be supply chain, commercial. I see Frank nodding, no? So I guess I'm doing a good job, the right job. So you go into the room, you work with your team, you understand the business, you feel and live like you're in their shoes. You understand the business from their lens, and that's where you start adding value, right? You do a combination of understanding the business, understanding the function, and then you talk about, make yourself like, if I'm a consumer, or if I'm from the plant, what would the consumer do, or what would the person from the plant do? How can we make things more efficient? And that's where a lot of creativity, recommendation will all come in. So you'll have a lot of, let's say you have 20 ideas because you now know the business. And then at the end, the second step would be, you always gonna go back to your roots as a finance person. Then you do your pros and cons, the cost and benefit analysis across all of those options. And then that's where you add value. Out of the so many options, then you do a recommendation based on, the pros and cons that you've done, both qualitative and quantitative measures. And that's really where a lot of creativity and fun has come in. Because as a business partner now, when you go into the office today, you don't really know what's gonna happen, or what surprise or what new challenge is gonna be on your table, and you'll really have to address it and learn about it, and then think of a way, come up with a solution, not just by yourself but together with your partners like supply chain or commercial. So I hope that addresses the question. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks for that,
Thank you
Melo.
so much.
Yeah, thanks for asking the question. So one last, so I know we still have a lot of questions, but look at the time. So if we
Yeah.
can accommodate one last, I'm getting now one from the chat. Hi, I just want to ask, do you guys open for people who want to jump into other career paths? So this one we're opening for all of our speakers. What if you have a change of heart? Let's say hypothetically, I'm doing HR, I want to do marketing tomorrow. Is that still possible if I'm, let's say, an early to mid-career professional? Anyone?
Maybe I can start, and the team can also add up. Definitely. I mean, even when you're 40 or 50 and you suddenly feel that you'd like to try another function, why not? In fact, maybe that can even be a competitive advantage. Imagine, and we've had leaders who have actually done that. If you guys listened to Garrett's talk yesterday, he actually started in finance, and he was even an auditor, and he moved to commercial and is now the CEO. So it in fact maybe even makes your experience more holistic. Our chief people officer in BIG, who handles multiple countries, used to be in marketing, and he actually moved to HR. So definitely you can go for that. Anyone else from the team would like to add?
I'll add, I think among the team here, actually, who's coming from Cook, a lot of us transferred from different functions. I mean, speaking about myself, I'm ex-finance. I used to do FP&A, financial planning and analysis. I did strategy. I went to marketing. I did insights and analytics, and now I'm back to strategy. I think it's actually encouraged for us. We like that people learn more about the business by going through different roles.
Absolutely. Let me add to that, Andrea, no, and Rina. I mean, just to give a perspective, no, I talked about even my career at Coke. I started as a project manager. I was a generalist. I knew nothing about FMCG coming into Coca-Cola. I was even shocked that they hired me, right? And they were very open to saying, look, Chris, you're a pretty influential guy in terms of makulit. You always ask a lot of questions. You were so curious about everything. And actually that got me pretty far, right? And to a certain point, I actually held commercial excellence and handled route to market. And I am not an industrial engineer by trade. I am a management graduate and accounting graduate. And I was surrounded by industrial engineers. And I actually led the route to market strategy, which is heavily industrial engineer led. So imagine that. So don't get caught up on what my technical expertise are. Don't get caught about what I'm graduating with, because truth be told, a lot of people graduate and they actually don't end up doing exactly what they studied for in college. So please don't think that career path, career changes are actually a limiting factor in any corporation, especially a company.
All right. So thanks for that. Anyone else from our
Yeah,
speaker?
I want to share my journey quickly. Um, can everybody hear me? I feel like I'm talking in a vacuum. Oh, you can.
Yes, we
I,
can
I
hear you.
actually I actually started in transportation. Before I joined Coke, I was in transportation for about 12 years. And transportation was the only thing I knew about. And I was doing it in Coke. I really thought I was going to be a transportation guy forever, until there was an opening with logistics planning. When I joined Coke, I didn't even know people were talking about Casalo. I didn't even know what that was. When I did planning, I totally pivoted from doing trucks to now doing capacity. And my mind was also set, and I figured that I would just be in planning forever. And then manufacturing came along. I am an industrial engineer, but I know, to be honest, I have very little knowledge of the plants. Until now, obviously, you gain knowledge as you go along. So my advice to anyone that wants to do a career change, the first step is just having the courage to do it. And then after, it's very important to have the appetite to learn what you need to learn to become successful. And Chris was saying, he was asking all these questions. That's really important. And I think the most important thing is not just asking the questions, it's asking the right questions. That's it. Thank you.
Wow, super. Thanks, Frank. Okay, Melo, if you still want
Yep.
to add.
Yes, so just to add, no, I think what will also give you the courage, no, just to add on what Frank has mentioned, is really, I think there's no age when you want to change a career or a change of heart. To me, what is really important is, if you have a clearly defined purpose. So if you have that main purpose or you have a clearly defined purpose, follow your heart, follow that purpose, and that will, wherever that will bring you, then as long as it's aligned with your purpose, then I think you will be on the right track, no? I also, in my experience, just to share, I've encountered and worked with a lot of people who, I had a marketing professor in college. She was actually in the corporate world. She was the, senior brand manager for Lactacid in Sanofi. And then one day, after 10, 15 years in the corporate world, she felt that there was a calling in teaching young students. So she left the corporate world, followed her heart, and she's now happy being a professor in marketing courses. No, so those are, it is when you live a purpose-driven life, then that will really also give you that courage to, set new boundaries or go into new adventures. No, as you deem fit. No, as your heart tells you to do. So I think, just focus on the purpose, and I think you're gonna be set on the right track.
Amazing. So thanks so much for that, Melo. Again, thanks, Rina, Andrea, Frank, Chris, and Melo. This has been a very amazing session. We'd love to extend, but look at the time. But no worries. To the next, we're always here for you. So let's stay connected. Follow Coca-Cola Beverages Philippines on social. You see here, take a screenshot because we have like 30 seconds remaining before we move to the next session. We have here our LinkedIn page. We're also found on Facebook, Instagram, and feel free to explore our exciting career opportunities on our career website. So that's it for today. Thanks once again to you guys, our beloved Fiesta participants, our org partners, our, of course, amazing leaders, to our Coca-Cola Bev family supporting us here. And congrats to our WorkBean fam for being truly badass for organizing this event for our Filipino young talents. Once again, this is Jake Bustos.
And this has
Yeah.
been Bea Carlos.
Maraming salamat po sa
Signing off.
ulitin. See ya.
Thank
Stay
you
safe.
so much.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Jake and
Bye,
Bea.
guys.
Alright. So
Stay
guys,
safe.
huwag na tayo magpatumpik-tumpik pa. Let's take a photo. Grabe, 6
Guys,
likes. Thank you so much,
Thank
Coca-Cola
you.
Beverages people. We really appreciate your enthusiasm and your patience in taking all of the questions. And again, guys, if you're looking for opportunities, they gave you the details now on how to upload your resumes, or I think there was even a Google Sheet or something. Do it. But also, if you want to learn more about CCBPI, yung culture nila, yung jobs nila, of course, you go to their LinkedIn page. But also, we created a culture page for them, didn't we, people?